Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is the show that demystifies technology. You know, that wireless stuff, those mobile phones, that computers, those Macs. That's what we do here on the show. And today I'm so excited because we get to look at shiny, shiny little toys, smartphones. You know, of course, everybody these days either has an iPhone or a Blackberry or one of the other smartphones. And we thought, well, let's take a look at side-by-side comparison to show you kind of what the key features are of each one and which one's better.
Yeah, and this is in case you have one of those dumb phones and you need to upgrade to something a bit smarter.
That's right. Okay, you're going up the world in the mobile IQ. Okay, good. So side-by-side comparison of the Palm Pre, the Blackberry, and the iPhone. The other way around, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
I was wondering, I thought you had an iPhone. I thought you'd recognize it.
I do. All right. All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, it's smartphones demystified. Which one should you buy? I can't tell you how excited I am. I mean, come on, like mobile phones, smartphones, it's like the way of the future. Forget laptops, forget, desktops. This is the way of the future.
These are little computers now, is what they are.
And I guess that defines what a smartphone is, right? It's a device you make a call with, but it has some brains behind it, right?
Yep. And the category was kind of invented by one of the players on this table, although they haven't played it in a while. I actually have the old phone here. It's the Trio from Palm. Take a look at that.
Wow.
It's a big brick of a phone. It's got an antenna. It doesn't look particularly futuristic
It's
anymore.
a Flintstone phone.
It is a kind of a Flintstone.
It's got a woodpecker inside it.
Yeah, it's powered by some rudimentary technology. That's for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is where it all kind of started when Palm took the Trio and put the Palm basically and a phone together. And that's where it started. And it's come a long way since that.
And what happens is, like, Palm suddenly became a homeless person, wandered into the wilderness for a while, and everybody else came up with theirs, and they wandered back with the Palm Pre, which is the new one.
I'm not sure I'd have put it exactly that way, but they were sort of lost for a while, for sure. They had no clue what to do next after the Trio. Because people, I think the problem there was that they were stuck on their Palm OS operating system, and it wasn't ideal for moving forward.
Right.
So they basically rebuilt it from the ground up, and thus the Pre. They've created on a basis of Linux now, as opposed to the old Palm operating system, and come up with something called WebOS, which is completely revamped and actually makes it a contender for this again, which is why we're bringing it here.
Okay, good. So on the table before us, we have the Blackberry Tour.
The Blackberry Tour.
When we chose that because the storm sucked.
The storm did kind of suck. I'm not going to
it
put
did.
a bit around that.
It was a sucky thing. Anyway, the Palm Pre, as you talked about, and of course the iPhone 3GS.
iPhone 3GS.
Okay, so we recognize that there is the Nokia phones out there, and there's the Android phones, but really these are kind of the market leaders at the moment. So if you want to send your hate mail, you can send it to Sean at Sean@labrats.tv to complain, okay?
There we go.
All right, but let's go through some key features of each one of the phones to help people make an informed decision if you're like in the market to buy a new one or you're upgrading from your old phone, your dumb phone, as it were. So I think one of the most profound experiences I've had on these devices is web browsing. I really think that sort of is one of the defining factors of these. So let's go through them one by one, starting with the iPhone. So your experience of the web browsing.
The web browsing experience on the iPhone, and we're going back to the original iPhone, this is where it first started to get really good for me anyways.
Right.
Now, we'd looked at it on the Palm before, and it was kind of okay. The Blackberry had done some rudimentary web browsing, but it was like clicking through a bunch of links, and things didn't look the way they were supposed to.
Right.
And with the iPhone, they finally got it right. They've used something called WebKit, which has been actually adopted by both the Pre and Android phones, which is really good. It allows you to zoom in, it allows you to click through on things very easily.
And you don't have to have a special version, like a mobile version of the page. It will actually show you the web page the way it was designed for a desktop computer, for example.
Exactly, and that was one of the things with BlackBerry. You had to look at things that were mobile optimized before if you wanted to get any experience out of it whatsoever.
Right. So great experience for web browsing on the iPhone. The Palm Pre, any impressions there?
Same thing with that one. It's based on the same WebKit technology, so it looks great. The screen on the Pre is a little bit smaller, so this one's 3.8 inches, this is 3.2, which means that even though the resolution is the same, it's going to look smaller. It'll be a little bit harder for you to see without zooming in. But both of them allow you to zoom in, use the gestures to zoom in.
Right. On the BlackBerry, not so much, right? It really was designed for rudimentary web browsing. It doesn't give you the full experience. It really is sort of a handicapped version of the web.
It has improved since their initial attempts at doing web browsing technology, and it's getting better, and they've just bought a new company that will hopefully bring in some more of that technology for good web browsing. They're not using WebKit, though, so it's not going to be the same, and it still is the weakest of the bunch at web browsing.
Okay, good. So pick of all three.
I think either the Pre or the iPhone.
Right, contenders.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, moving on, because I think this next category is really key. It's how you get your data, how you interface with the device using either touch or keyboards. And I want to talk, so it's data input. How do we deal with data input in these three different devices? Of course, the Palm, no, excuse me, not the Palm, but the iPhone really, invented and brought together sort of the idea of touch in terms of a mobile device, right? It was a superior touch experience.
Yeah, and up to that point, your way of interacting was the old Blackberry way of doing things, which was a tiny little keyboard with little chiclets or what have you.
Right.
And even before that, the Palm way of doing things was using a little stylus on your screen. I'm trying to remember whether this one actually had a stylus, and it did.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so this one, it had an old stylus, and you actually wrote on the screen.
Handwriting recognition.
Yeah, and it was not great, but it also came with the keyboard built into some of these earlier ones.
Right. So this guy has, an on-screen keyboard to, input text. It's kind of cool because what happens is it sees what you're typing and it guesses what the next letter is likely to be. So for example, if you type Q, the chances are you're going to type U right next. So they make the space on the area on the U really big, so likely you're going to touch that.
Yeah,
right?
now this is not just error correction after the fact.
No.
This is, it actually looks at what you're typing now and then actually makes the sensitivity bigger on the letters, not just correcting it after when you type quonk instead of quick.
Right, exactly. So the idea of the on-screen keyboard, as much as it seems like a bad idea, is actually not a bad experience.
No.
Right. Now moving on to the Palm Pre, this of course, if you expand it, it has a keyboard as well as the touch interface. Any impressions there?
Well, you'll notice right here is that it's got it comes up right against the bottom of this, and it is quite tight. So it is if you've got big thumbs. If you're one of the
Sausage
thumb
thumbs?
typers,
Yep.
yeah, it may not be as comfortable an experience as it is on something like the Blackberry, for example, that has a keyboard that's up and out and in the open.
Right.
So it
also
does
probably
take some
poses a
getting used
problem
to.
for people with a nice French manicure as well.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the best choice there. But the one thing that they have done on this, it is still a touch interface on the screen, not for text input, but you can actually move things around with your finger on the screen. And they actually have a gesture area down here as well, so that when you want to do something, you can actually drag up, and it will do things on the screen, and you can just swipe up like that from this little section. Right. So it's not just the screen, but the area below the screen as well.
So it's touch-sensitive keyboard interface to input text and also gesture type of functionality as well.
Right.
So you recommend that?
That
so far, the Pre, as far as an input goes, is pretty good, right?
It's very good. Although I got to say that from a keyboard perspective, I still prefer the on-screen one on the iPhone because I've gotten used to it, and the keyboard is actually a little bit bigger.
Right.
No feedback like you do with the little keys. You don't actually feel it when you're typing. You're just hitting spaces on the screen. So it's a little bit of both. If you prefer the actual feedback of touching a key, then I think the Pre is a great choice between the two. The Blackberry is still, if you're doing a lot of texting though, this is the way to go because it's got the bigger keyboard, it has the actual feedback, and it's very good for just going really fast with both thumbs.
Our director of technology, Greg Weir, actually likes it because it actually has a textured keys that show you sort of it flows in towards the center of the keyboard here. So it's actually a ridge down the middle. And he says that he can actually type while he drives. Not that he's supposed to be doing that, but he does. He types while he drives.
What are you doing?
But he says he can actually type a message with one thumb. So really, if you're text-centric, if you want to send a lot of email or do a lot of text messaging, really the Blackberry is going to be your choice here.
Now the Storm, one of the reasons it was such a stink fest was because it didn't have the keyboard, which was one of the hallmarks of it, but it had the on-screen one. But you had to really press down to
the whole
get
screen
it.
would click down, right?
Yeah. So with this one, if you want to type, you just dot, 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 dot.
Right.
The other one, you have to actually click, 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 and not so good. So the touch interface on Blackberry is not so good yet.
Okay, good. So ultimately, I would say from a text input, you're looking at the Blackberry. The iPhone has actually got a nice solution if you're willing to give up your physical keyboard, and the Pre's not a bad in-between type of.
Yeah, the Pre is a great choice, a great halfway between the two.
Okay, let's talk about pictures and cameras here, because I think that's a big feature of smartphones these days. They pretty much all have a little lens there to take pictures. So starting with the iPhone 3GS here, flip it around.
Okay. Actually, you might notice this doesn't look like a real iPhone. This is because this is the using the Mophie Juice Pack Air.
Oh yeah,
Which I wanted
extra
to show
battery
because
pack?
it's great. It adds a little bit of extra battery power. So let's actually take that off so we can see a little bit more on the back here. So on the back we've got the camera over here,
Yep.
3-megapixel camera.
Right.
And not only does it take 3-megapixel images, it'll actually shoot video now.
There you go. So it's not high definition,
Not
but
high
it's video capable.
Yeah, and the video capabilities on these is never as high as the actual resolution of the still camera.
Right. Okay.
Either.
And we should mention that the 3G, the predecessor to this, did not have video. But it did have stills. So
It had stills and it had a 2-megapixel. So it's an improved camera and it does have video and video editing capabilities on the phone with
very
the new
good.
one.
Okay, good. Moving on to the Pre.
The Pre also has a camera here, and it actually has a little flash beside the camera lens as well. It's 3-megapixel. No video, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer.
Not yet.
The one nice touch with this one is when you open it up, it actually has a mirror here, and I don't know whether you can see anything much in here, but you can actually point it back towards yourself. Yeah, we can't see you, Matt, unfortunately. It's a little bit...
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Well, it looks
Handsome
like
as ever.
It's a funhouse kind of mirror.
That's right.
But for when you're shooting yourself, you can just take a look and make sure that you're lined up. You don't look too good when you're looking in there, but
Yeah, fix your makeup. Yeah. Nice.
so, but there you go. The video capable, or not video, the photo capabilities there. It takes good images, but no video.
Okay, good. And then finally, the BlackBerry. BlackBerry's had a camera on it pretty much from the beginning, since it went to the sort of the smartphone format.
Yes and no. There's a bit of a debate about cameras and Blackberries, because Blackberries are traditionally for enterprise customers, and a lot of enterprises don't want you taking pictures of stuff inside the building and taking
Well, it was the
them out.
BlackBerry Curve, I guess, that introduced, maybe the Bold before that, right?
More recently, yeah. So BlackBerry has really made a play into the consumer space more recently, and so there's two SKUs usually, and they have ones that are camera enabled, ones that don't have it for customers in enterprise that don't want that camera in there.
Right.
This one, the Tour, actually does have a camera. It's a 3-megapixel camera. It does also have a flash in it. Oops, bring it in closer here. And again, good photographs.
Okay, good. All right, connectivity. Let's talk about how these guys connect. So obviously you have a cellular network on each one of these. Currently, the iPhone is on a GSM network.
Yes.
And not CDMA.
Right.
So two different cellular technologies there. The Pre is on a CDMA network and not
For now.
GSM for now.
For now.
And the BlackBerry is on both.
Right.
Right, both technologies. They're all both on third-generation data networks and that sort of thing. I want to mention that the iPhone 3GS is on a 7.2 megabit HDSPA. Is that right? HSDPA network, and I have to say that the browsing experience is pretty phenomenal when you're a mobile.
It is pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's very peppy.
The BlackBerry Tour, not so much, is on an EVDO Rev A. And I hate these weird geeky terms. It's a bit slower, and substantially slower actually than the iPhone 3GS. And I find the Pre, I don't know. I think it's on Rev A as well.
Yes.
Rev A.
It's on Rev A.
Okay, so that's the cellular technology taken care of. In terms, if you want to compare them, with the 3GS is on the fastest network possible at the moment, compared to all these three. We talk about Wi-Fi for a second, though. Wireless fidelity or wireless networking. They all have it, correct?
No.
No.
No, they do not.
They do not. Okay.
And this is actually surprising. Why do you want Wi-Fi on one of these phones, first of all? Well, okay, so you're downloading applications for your iPhone 3GS. You got something. It eats up a lot of data. And you want to do some web browsing when you're at the office. Well, why are you going to do that over the cellular network and eat up all of your plans, download capabilities?
Yeah.
Right, so you want to switch over to Wi-Fi when you're in a Wi-Fi hotspot that you trust. iPhone has it.
Right.
The Pre has it.
Yeah.
From process of elimination, we know which one doesn't have
The
it
BlackBerry
now.
does not have
The
it.
BlackBerry does not have it.
At least the Tour. What about the Storm? Do you remember
Nope.
the Tour? No?
Nope.
What are you doing, Rim? Come on.
Yeah, and I don't know whether this is a battery life issue or whether it's another enterprise issue. I don't know why you wouldn't want Wi-Fi on your phone in the network, or maybe it's a security issue from that perspective.
There are versions that do have Wi-Fi on them.
Some of them
Some
do.
of them do.
And someone asked us recently, does the new Tour have it? And I had to answer back, well, I think so, but no, it doesn't.
Right.
And why?
strange.
But there is a list, and we'll give you the link for that, which BlackBerry models actually do have Wi-Fi.
Okay, good. App Store. This is, I think, really what made the iPhone application store. Adding software to your iPhone. Has a robust thing. It comes through iTunes, zillions of free apps, zillions of lower cost, 99-cent, $2 type of applications and that sort of thing. Apple did it right with the App Store.
And when they launched the App Store, they actually launched it with a lot of apps in it.
Right.
Already.
Good. Now the Pre. What are those guys doing?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
No, they have something that's in
They
beta
have
test
something
right now,
in
right?
beta. So there's a small handful of apps that you can actually...
And an emulator that runs the old Palm applications, if I recall.
That I'm not 100%
I think I saw
sure
on the
on.
web the other day, yeah.
But there are apps coming, and they are working on it. They have a developer's kit that's available to people that want to start writing apps for it, and then you can submit them to their store, and then they'll put them out
It's called
there.
App Catalog.
The App Catalog.
Right. Okay, good.
And the BlackBerry, again, they're not doing much with it, but it's coming.
Well, they launched the App World,
Yeah,
BlackBerry
App
App World,
There's
but
not a
it's
lot there.
kind of lame.
There's not much there at all.
No, it is. It's a bit of a surprise, actually. So in the world of apps and applications, the iPhone wins this one. For sure.
Except, and
That.
here's the controversy.
Yeah.
With the iPhone App Store, you can only put things on your iPhone that Apple has approved.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Unless you crack this and jailbreak it, make it your very own.
Right.
Then you can put whatever has been written for it. But officially speaking, you can only put things on that Apple has approved. These other ones, anyone can write for them, and anyone can put whatever apps you want on these things.
Right.
Could break your phone.
Right.
Maybe not. But you have that choice. Same with Android-based phones. Their App Store is a little bit lame at this point, but it is getting better.
Okay, yeah.
But you can load things in, side load. You don't have to use the traditional approved process to do this.
Got it. Okay. Well, Apple, they're a bunch of control freaks over there anyway, aren't they?
They are, but you know what? Some people say that's a great thing because it means that if it's approved on here, it fits the user experience. It won't break the phone, hopefully, and
It's a QA thing, really.
it's a QA thing.
Right. Or it's an effort to dominate the world.
Yeah, but tinkerers are not going to like that.
All right, final conclusions. Should we take a break, Matt, or should we? We'll go to break. Okay, we'll go to break, and when we come back, we'll have final thoughts about which one is for you. And Sean has a very strong opinion about this, and I do too. So we'll be back after this. Well, as you know, we live on the butterscotch.com network these days, and that's where you'll find Lab Rats and all of the shows. We do a lot of other content too. We do tutorials and shows and that sort of thing. And this week's clip of the week is from Mr. Mobile. He's got a little piece on the Palm Pre that you want to have a look at. So let's take a look at a little preview of that, or a little look at that.
Preview. I see what you did there.
Preview. And when we come back, we got picture time and final thoughts about smartphones.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
The back 3.2 megapixel camera here with a flash, so unlike the iPhone, you can take pretty decent photos at night. Now, unlike the iPhone 3GS, there's no video, so that may be coming in a subsequent pre-release. At the moment, we are stuck with just doing still photos. They do look really good, and the flash does help quite a lot with taking night shots. Bluetooth with stereo, A2DP, so if you don't want to use the headphones and you've got something like, for example, a car that you want to connect to the Bluetooth system, or you've got a set of Bluetooth headphones, you get the full stereo from them, which is really nice and something that actually just came in the last update of the iPhone OS. So on that front, relatively head-to-head.
Now, if you want to see the whole episode of that, it's 4 or 5 minutes of that, go to butterscotch.com, check out Mr. Mobile. It's one of the most recent episodes, and take your time. It's a great segment. We do
It's a little
also
bit longer than that, actually.
Is it?
It's a lot of coverage for the Pre, since it's so brand new.
Oh, okay. Well, go to the
So, get
fridge
some
and get
popcorn.
yourself a popcorn and a beer, and sit down and watch it. Sean, you've also done a series on the iPhone 3GS as well.
Yeah, when that first came out, I did a small series on the various features on it. So.
And I did a tutorial on the iPhone 3G as well, a 10-part series. So
Yeah,
actually, no, it's a 12-part series. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
Jay also
lots.
has some stuff on Android. So, I mean, there's lots of cell phone coverage. Doc Callahan has done some tutorials as well on the iPhone.
Okay.
So.
Butterscotch.com. Go there right now. Okay. That said, let's get on to picture time.
All right.
I think we should do the final roundup of this
Final roundup.
before we get up to pictures.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Okay. So, in terms of your choice, which one would you choose?
Well, I choose.
No, you
the
can't
Palm
choose the
Trio.
Palm Trio. No, you can't. Flintstones meet the. Hey, go on.
All right. Well, I've already made my choice.
I
In
know.
fact, this is my phone right here, the iPhone
Yeah.
3GS.
Yeah.
And I made this choice from a slightly practical perspective. If I had to choose out of nowhere right now,
Yeah.
it could either go towards the iPhone or the Pre. The Pre is really
It's a contender.
nice phone. It is a contender. I don't like the App Store experience right now, but that's going to get better.
Yeah.
From a purely functional perspective and all the apps that are out there and just the functionality of it, I love the iPhone 3GS.
My wife Michelle is a big Palm Trio. She has a Flintstone phone like that right now, and she's like grasping it. But I showed her the Pre the other day, and she's like, I want that one now. So, you know, it might be an option.
Yeah, and the practical thing for me is this is on a different network than I use. I use a GPRS GSM network, and
network.
this is on CDMA, so I'd have to switch carriers, and I wasn't really ready to do that.
Do that right, got it. Okay.
So-
So you choose, and I choose the iPhone too. I just bought a 3GS. I love it. The App Store, the experience is fantastic. It's my favorite gadget of like the decade. So I mean, Palm Pre, right, has its merits. The BlackBerry, if I was forced to, enterprise situation, I might use it. But I actually used it for several years, and I went to the iPhone, and that's where I'm staying.
You know what? Before I was on the iPhone, I actually had a BlackBerry for years and years, and I loved it at the time. But it's just the iPhone came and brought it. I just couldn't resist.
All right, there you go. There's a wrap up for smartphones and which one you should buy. Let's go to picture time now.
Well, we have a couple pictures today, and first of all, we have a website from our friend Cameron, who's in Scotland, and this is
Very nice.
accessiblescience.blogspot.com.
Right. Don't forget, you can send in you don't have to send pictures of you, yourself, your aunt, your pets, or whatever. You can actually send in your website, and we'll plug it for you. This is accessiblescience.com.
accessiblescience.blogspot.com.
Okay, good.
There you go. And we also have from Alex in New Mexico,
Nice.
a cat baby.
Baby the
And
cat.
baby is downloading something right at the moment, and we're not exactly sure what.
All right. Thanks for tuning this week. It would be foolish to be here if you weren't out there. My name's Andy Walker,
I'm Sean Carruthers.
and we'll see you next time.
Are you ready?
Give me a clickety clacker, that'd be super.
Clickety clack.
Oh, look, it's still roll one, scene one, take one.
That might confuse me. That's fantabulous.